one of the things that I remember wanting when I grew up, talk about a small mindset. I remember going over to a neighbor's house and the kids were having to wash all the dishes by hand because the dishwasher was broke. And I thought, why don't y'all just get another dishwasher? And they couldn't afford one. And I remember thinking at that point growing up, I always want to be able to afford a dishwasher. I want enough money in the bank, I can buy a dishwasher. Talk about a small mindset.
When you're broke, you can't be lazy. So you also got to be resourceful too. So I guess there wasn't YouTube videos. Maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't YouTube videos back then, brother. There wasn't even the internet. There was nothing. It was a library.
That's it. Go to the library and figure out how to work on electronics.
Man, we'll learn something. Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. This is one of those interviews. Look, I respect you as a plumber. I think you do great work. You've grown. I've watched you grow, watched you go out and open your own business. So first of all, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Dustin Deweese. I'm a master plumber and got a family, wife, 3 kids, been married for 15 years and been at it in the plumbing industry for, 16 years, I think, at this point. I do it for my family, right? We have a company, so do it for the crew. I think that's what it's all about. Giving back to the community and making sure that people have good jobs, and thankful to be able to be in front of people that I can help every day.
Yeah, it makes it nice because tradespeople don't have, let me put it this way. People don't view tradespeople as good citizens, whatever word you want to use. That they look at us like we're stupid, which I love.
Sure.
I used to have a thing on my Facebook page that says, underestimate me, this is going to be fun.
Sure.
But they do. They look down upon us, I guess is a good way to do it. You make pretty good money as a tradesperson, don't you?
Yeah, I always have.
Isn't that great?
It's great. I quit school in the 9th grade. I did go back and get a GED. Doesn't mean I wasn't smart or didn't have anybody encouraging me to finish. But when people hear that and kind of see what I do,
right? You that big house is yours.
You got a 9th grade education? Yeah, well, kind of.
You bet. I love that. So, okay, now you own your own plumbing company.
Yes.
Tejas Plumbing.
Yes, sir.
Where are you at? You're just northeast of Dallas.
Northeast of Dallas. My wife and I are in Hunt County, just outside of Greenville. Mm-hmm. Amelia and I started that deal, and it's been something we've been working towards for quite a long time. And just full transparency, she's the brains behind the operation. I can execute stuff, but she's amazing.
She's the business mind.
She's awesome.
And I love working with her, talk with her about marketing, just all kinds of stuff. She's been doing it for a while.
Yeah. Northeast of Dallas, Hunt County, we service quite a bit. We try our very best to provide a good service east, because a lot of the large guys here in town in Dallas, they don't, operate like that.
Logistically, it's not a smart thing to do.
Right. And with us, we're able to provide that great service that people aren't, accustomed to far out. So, doesn't mean that we won't come into Dallas on occasions when there's a need and have, customers, friends, family, people that need us there. So we'll get out there. But if anybody is familiar with that area, it's nice not having to drive across the Lake Ray Hubbard Bridge.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
That is a personal thing that I value a lot, being east. So.
Man, I love that. So first of all, I ask people how they get started in the trades. How did you pick plumbing?
I had an uncle who did underground utilities, so big pipe. They did water, sewer, storm sewer for new construction, like neighborhoods. So I kind of got my start in that. So he was a foreman, put me on his crew, making $8 an hour as a laborer, and I worked with really cool people. Kind of threw me on the job site, and the first day he told me, get in where you fit in. nobody spoke English. So not only did I have to learn how to lay pipe, I had to learn how to speak Spanish too, which is important here in Texas. So that's kind of the very first introduction into at least pipe laying. And I worked for an electrician for a little while. Bit of a degenerate gambler. I might be. I might still be a master electrician at this point instead of a plumber. Had my checks been getting, funded at the bank whenever I was the first one over to get them, cashed. But
yep.
Amelius had some family in plumbing, so he had, spoke to me several occasions about, hey, come on over. Let's jump in. Let's do this thing. Use your help. So it kind of started from there. But it just having people around. So what I like to do is take guys that don't have any connections to, the plumbing. They don't have a dad or an uncle or, a good family friend to bring them in. So I love to bring people like that in who don't have any connections.
I think that's phenomenal. So you got introduced that way. Did he help you find that first job then?
So
your uncle?
My uncle, no. So that was a separate deal. Again, it was a family deal from Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of, tried to make my own way from that point forward.
Good. So then how did you find your first job?
Again, with Uncle Rick, the first job after I worked with Amelia's cousin, I jumped in as somebody's apprentice. I think it was Amelia's brother.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we were laid off. The economy wasn't great. So just a word of mouth, hey, man, this guy's a hard worker. And it kind of perpetuated that way. And
I love that part.
As I worked with people and I knew people, hey, come, we over here, come on. And it was always a learning experience or something new, bigger company. So it kind of happened that way. Just worked until I didn't have to introduce myself.
So if there's a kid listening right now, and I say kid, 18 to 48, says, oh my God, I want to get in the trades. How would you advise them to get in the trades right now?
You could, I get phone calls regularly to my office. Hey, are you hiring? Right. And don't be too proud to do that. I get, I probably had 6 Facebook messages yesterday. You guys hiring? Don't be afraid to do that. I saw a video the other day. It was like, hey, find your local electrician, roofer, water mitigation company, plumber, reach out to them. It's worth a shot. Everybody's hiring right now. And I have had apprentices that were car salesmen. One was a bank manager, right? So he was a 15-year bank manager and now has been a plumber for years and making triple his salary as a bank manager.
Isn't that crazy?
Just working as a, plumber, getting his hands dirty every day.
So why'd you pick electrical when you went into it?
It was just an opportunity that was right there. I had been doing a little work for a guy. We were digging a pond. Again, the economy at that point in time was kind of bad, so the company was going south. This gentleman had a bunch of work. He loved the way that I operated equipment. It was a plus that I could speak at that point in time, excuse my language, half-ass Spanish. But it was a mutual beneficial deal for him. So that's kind of how I stumbled into that one.
You speak Spanish pretty good now?
Decent, yeah.
Good.
I try really hard.
Well, we've got to, don't we?
I can be descriptive if I don't know the words, or again, I'm not too proud to ask and say.
You and me both.
Yo no sé la palabra.
Como se dice?
Yeah.
How do you say this?
That's
yes,
it.
indeed.
That's how it started.
Absolutely. So what did you learn as an apprentice that made you want to become really good?
As an apprentice, I worked for a service company, and I wanted our truck to do well, right? They kept track of different things, metrics, what you're doing, where it was at, and it was like a thing for us. We wanted to be the best, right? And it was just everybody else was doing good. We want to do good, and then it made me learn more, something new, and it started with the work, right? I got good at the work. I knew what tools were needed, and then I would listen to what people said, how they communicated on jobs, and that was something that took me a little bit to figure out, but kind of started there, just wanting to do good, at one point in time, it was not wanting to get fired. So I kind of had to do good. I didn't want to, had a family to provide for. So there was no room for errors.
So you've done mainly service your entire time, right?
Yeah. For a couple of years, I did like, Dallas schools. I was drug free and could pass the background check. So they paid me well.
I've been there. Yeah.
So I did DISD jobs. So I got to learn, remodels, schools, setting, carriers for toilets, lavatory sinks, and urinals, and got to work on some big commercial projects. That was just a few years, so it was great experience, but primarily for, the rest of what I've been doing is residential service, kind of specializing in water leaks for many years.
And I love that because Texas Green Plumbing, that's what we started out. Slab leaks, leak detection, we can find it. Anybody getting in right now, because whenever I help recruit people into the trades, and I say recruit, I literally go down the grocery store aisle at night and see some kid in their night stocking and walk up and if they're working hard, do you used to do that or something?
Amelia's going to see this, and I stopped down the kid at Walgreens. What are you doing?
You bet.
The boy who's sacking groceries and carrying them out with me at Brookshire's.
Yep.
I'm visiting with them. You know what I mean? I can see just a little bit of potential in somebody.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, have you thought about this?
Well, what I was doing, man, when I see somebody not stocking, I'll just go down that aisle and I'll go real slow and stop and look at things. Really, all I'm doing is looking at them.
Sure.
And if they're getting it. They're
you don't want any quinoa or granola on that aisle.
Exactly. That's not for me. So I'll watch them, and then I'll get down to them and I'll ask them, and I always ask the same thing to start out. It's like, are you going to do this forever? And they just laugh. They're like, oh God, no. Like, so what are you going to do? They're like, I don't know yet. I'm like, what if I told you I could help get you into a career, a profession, one of those two words, not just help you get a job.
They think that you're some sort of a slick talking, going to put them on the black market.
Yeah, I know. I'll have you out working. and I do. I say, what if I told you that I could help you get a job where you can make 6 figures a year? Yeah. You're not going to have any college debt, anything at all like that. Is it something you'd be interested in?
And that's always a resounding yes, I can guarantee you.
Absolutely. And I'll normally give them a card and say, look, I don't want to stop you at working right now. I stopped to talk to you because you're working hard. Here's my card. Give me a call next week.
So I have 3 kids. The boy is 7, and then I have 2 girls.
Mr. Wyatt, my bud.
He is a good dude. He gets out and works with me, but I also have 2 girls, middle school. One's about to go into high school, so 12 and 14. They have little friends, and I know, their parents, and I had a phone call the other day from a 12-year-old boy. He said, hey, when I graduate high school, can I come work for you? I said, hell yeah, you can. The other little boys that are, I have a nephew who's 15. So all of his little buds, I will make phone calls to them on a Saturday. What are y'all doing? You want to come make a few bucks? Maybe it's moving stuff around at the shop. Maybe it's just, a little labor stuff, put a little fold money in their pocket, but they're if there was, picking up the hats for signing day, they're in.
Oh yeah.
As a full commitment. But I always tell them, said, hey, I want to come now. I'm a junior. I'm thinking about quitting school. I can't take those because I want them to go and go to prom and to do that kind of stuff because that's important. Now, finishing school, journeyman license is not mandatory to have a high school diploma anymore, right. But it's still important to me that they finish that stuff.
You bet. And I've talked to them about the same thing. They're like, well, I'm thinking about quitting. It's like, why? Nah. If you'll quit school, you'll quit plumbing.
That's it.
And they're like, not necessarily. It's like, no, if you're a quitter, you're a quitter.
Yeah.
Finish it up. I quit. I went back. I went back and graduated with my class. You got a GED. So we're both reasons not to do it or why we should hire them.
Sure.
But yeah, what we see, and it's like, look, here's the kind of person I want now.
And I think it was a commitment that I had put forward, and it was an encouragement from my wife at the time, like, hey, listen, you can't just not go to school or have that. And for what I was doing at the time, I had a very small mindset of what I was going to do. I even spoke with a military recruiter at one point in time, and they wouldn't take me because I didn't have, a GED or a diploma. Mm-hmm. So it was just, it's kind of important to know that they're teaching ridiculous crap that's probably not super helpful in the real world. And that's just you and I speaking frankly with each other and to a bunch of tradesmen or potential tradesmen.
Nobody's listening to this. So it's just me and you. So
the thing is, it's a commitment. You're completing something and you've gotten that far. Why would you want to quit?
So, something I want to mention. You said your mindset at the time. People ask me all the time, what happened? How did you go from where you were to where you are? My mindset changed a lot. What changed your mindset?
I had a family to provide for, and that was the most important thing, and it still is to this day that, that they're taken care of. I had a single mom growing up and a sister, and
hello, Lori.
Yeah, she kicked ass, and she did everything that she could. She was a hairdresser, that firsthand experience, and so
just so everybody knows, your mom and me went to cosmetology school together because I'm also a hairstylist.
So
I'll get some messages over that one.
I wanted to do something different. I wanted to provide for my kids. Never, not that I ever went without. Don't get me wrong, but I just wanted to be able to do more and do extra. And if they wanted or needed something, that I could easily take care of it. And I've always tried my very best. Even sometimes I made lots and lots of money, but I was gone 100 hours a week. So then with this lots of money, I was buying love, which there's a balance that needs to be there. Again, this is on a little rabbit trail, but there does have to be a balance because I worked so hard to get to where I was and to do more and show up early and leave late. They were also the ones that were kind of sacrificing this ultimate commodity that we have as time, that we never get it back. It's gone. You can't get it back. So I don't regret being gone and doing for them. But now I have a better balance. And that was the last few years I worked on balance.
I love that because, same way with my son. My son, I was working weekends. I was working overtime. I'm doing everything I can to bring in every dollar I can and missed a lot of his growing up. And, later, then they don't want to be with you. They're like, hey, Dad, I want to be out with my buzz. It's like, yeah, but wait, I can afford to take off now. I'm making more money.
Yeah.
And there's a big balance there. It's neat that, as you saw, he gets to work with me now.
Yeah.
And that part is really, really cool.
And Randy is taller.
At least I don't think so.
So again,
you're looking up to both of us. You can't tell.
The balance is tough because you are in that rat race and you want to. My deal was I liked having, a cool truck and a nice place to live and being able to go out and do stuff. And if we decided on a Friday night that we were going to go to the movies, it wasn't a thought. It was just like, yep, let's go. We'll go to dinner first and then go. And I always enjoyed that. And if I wanted to, take off for a weekend and go just on a random trip to Vegas, that was okay. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that I had to sit and think about and call up my financial planner to make sure. Maybe frivolous, but it was just something that I worked hard so we could do it. But the trade wasn't. It's kind of a lopsided trade,
Here's the funny thing, because one of the things that I remember wanting when I grew up, talk about a small mindset. I remember going over to a neighbor's house and the kids were having to wash all the dishes by hand because the dishwasher was broke. And I thought, why don't y'all just get another dishwasher? And they couldn't afford one. And I remember thinking at that point growing up, I always want to be able to afford a dishwasher. I want enough money in the bank, I can buy a dishwasher. Talk about a small mindset.
When you're broke, you can't be lazy. So you also got to be resourceful too. So I guess there wasn't YouTube videos. Maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't YouTube videos back then, brother. There wasn't even the internet. There was nothing. It was a library.
That's it. Go to the library and figure out how to work on electronics.
Man, we'll learn something.
Yeah, so that was kind of my deal too. I always wanted to do for them, right? And they've always been a priority to mine. And my wife while I was out working, was taking care of everything. On top of everything that she did at home, she was always, had something going, a business, a photography. She was doing, hats and embroidery stuff for a while, and just working her ass off. So I wanted to make sure that she had everything that she ever dreamed of, So those were big factors for me to put in that kind of work to be the best.
And that's good. And I like that, because me and you talked about it before when she was starting the embroidery company. Mm-hmm. Man, she needs another $8,000 machine or $40,000 machine, or she's looking at this or looking at this. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? She supported me so long. I need to get her what she wants.
Everything.
And I do. I like that. When I talk about you, I talk about you. You are probably one of the best service plumbers I know. Okay, and that's a heck of a compliment, because I know a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I do. I think you've done phenomenal. When me and you talk numbers, I'm like, wait, a service plumber? Are you serious? How are you making that kind of money? But it's because you're good. And I remember a conversation we had one day, and really my question is going to get to be, how did you stand out from others? But I want to say something you told me. We were at dinner one night and we're talking. I said, how do you make so much money? You said, Roger, I'm 100% efficient. Because bigger companies, a lot of the way pay structures are or were set up.
Sure.
And I'm not going to say, look, you're 100% commission, anything at all like that. However that is, it is. But to be 100% efficient, most plumbers are 50% if they're good.
Sure.
And you're batting 1,000%.
So with that, it was an investment in education. I was threatened to be fired. I was sitting across from a table like this, and I had gotten multiple negative reviews on one of the lead generating sites. Right? We'll leave them unnamed, but it was a terrible feeling, because I had to identify something myself that was wrong, and that was kind of a painful thing to hear coming from someone else. So immediately I thought about the family that I had at home and what I'm doing to provide for them. So it started with education. I read a book by John C. Maxwell called Everyone Communicates But Few People Connect. And I think that's what I was missing is the personal connection with people. That. Right? So once I figured that out, I made that investment to continue in educating myself on communication and how to talk and connect. So the next portion was I started investing in tools that made my job easier, right? Anything and everything that I could. I was making good money, so I was investing into tools. And if it's something that can shave 15 minutes off of a job, and I do that 5 times a year, I'm getting home an hour earlier and completing the same amount of work, or it gives me an opportunity to go to the next one. So it was an investment. I invested in myself, in tools, in communication, tools that I worked with. So that's how I was able to continue to do that type of thing. And on top of that, I had a work ethic that I could sleep a few hours a night and show up early and leave late, and then still try my best to be dad too. Sometimes it was dad over the phone, I'm calling your dad, and then I had to deal with stuff over the phone. And then it was, make sure that I'm hugging everybody's neck or making breakfast on Saturday and Sunday mornings and doing a good connection. So again, time, education, and tool investment is what helped me tremendously to be able to do that.
I love that. And I love that you went to communication. I tell people all the time, look, we're taught how to read in school.
Sure.
We're taught how to write. We're taught how to talk. We're not taught how to listen. And especially as tradesmen, we walk in, as soon as the customer starts talking, it's like, yeah, I know what your problem is. And we want to jump straight to it. Yeah, I got this. I know what it is. Man, listen to them and just stop and give them that time. It's huge.
It's important to me. I think the last time that we were on the live, we had a situation pop up and you asked about, efficiency and doing that stuff. And there's a pet peeve of mine whenever someone brings you into their home for help and then kind of treats you like the help, or they're on the phone call. You know, that's always a pet peeve of mine because I get a lot of information as just that very beginning. How did this start? When? What was the scenario? Where were you guys at? How long had this been going on? Were you doing laundry when it took place? There's a lot of questions that I ask that kind of sound intrusive, but it's strategic to get to the point of why this happened, when it started, where it was at. Was it raining?
Has anybody else worked on this before?
How long? What's going on?
What all did they do?
And then it's an investigation. And then I've always had this mindset that nobody's going to come to bail me out. And right now with the company, I also feel that too. There's nobody that I can call, to say, what do I do? Sure, I have friends and people that, connections that would love to take my phone call. And I know that you're one of them. But I also have always had that mindset on my jobs. There's nobody coming to bail you out, so we have to figure this out. And utilizing whatever kind of resources that I have, I like to do this. I'll make phone calls, and the phone call will start like this. Hey, what's up, brother? Man, I got a situation. Have you got a minute? Yes. Usually I'll ask for permission to speak freely because I may drop some stuff in there first. Don't know if I'm on Bluetooth or not. But, yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. What is it? Well, I was calling the smartest guy I know. Man, thanks. What? No, they didn't answer, so I called you. So it's I'm not afraid to ask for help, but I also have that mindset of, listen, we have to figure this out. There's nobody coming behind you.
Here's one thing, and I'll give you and everybody else some advice here. Sometimes it's nice to ask, even if you're like, man, look, I know I can figure this out. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to ask somebody because they may have figured out a way that not saying you can't get to it and resolve it, but they may have figured out a way that's not the way you got to. You found a different way. This way is quicker, faster, more efficient, more valuable, whatever it is.
Absolutely. So once I do figure out, hey, I had a weird situation today, and having a big network of plumbers and friends in the industry, hey, weird situation. How would you have approached this?
Here's what I did.
This is exactly how I got to it. It's like, man, I never thought of that. Mm-hmm. And it usually takes me twice as long to figure out something like that. Or, man, I was 6 weeks out to do something, or, you know what I mean? So I enjoy the feedback, and I enjoy those conversations because it's something that's interesting to me. Yep. It is one of my favorite pastimes. I don't have a whole bunch of hobbies, so talking shop, I guess, could be one of my hobbies.
It's so funny. I went to Utah a couple of weeks ago for a YouTube event, mastermind, and when I'm getting ready to leave, the guy who taught the event, his nephew works with him, and his nephew's brother is a plumber. Well, we were in Cedar City. They were in Salt Lake City, or his nephew that's a plumber is. And I'm headed there. I'm like, ask him if he wants to have dinner with us. Well, I talked to him yesterday. I said, dude, my brother is like, it was so cool to just sit and talk with you. Yeah. He said he thought it was really funny that he finally found somebody he could sit and talk plumbing with that probably enjoyed talking plumbing as much or more than him.
That's it.
So it's funny because when we do get together, of course, everybody thinks, man, let's don't talk plumbing. That's all we talk. It's like we love our business and our life and all that.
I've roped my wife into it over the years too, so I think she enjoys the conversations. At least just hearing what's happening on the jobs too.
It does happen.
Now she has a personal connection with the company, so she doesn't only get to hear from it with me. She was a dispatcher for years, so she heard it from her guys, and now she hears it from our guys too. So I think she has a deep love for it as well.
And she's got relatives that are plumbers too.
Yeah.
So it's a plumbing family, which is a great thing. It makes it nice because then when you talk about it, it's not like, wait, I know nothing about that. I don't want to hear about it.
Speaking Mandarin, I don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no problems at all like that. Why is training and going above and beyond so important for any tradesman, not just you? Why was it important for you? Why should somebody listening think, okay, you know what? I want to learn from that. I want to get some training and I want to go above and beyond.
I mean, if you're doing anything, whenever you're a basketball player, right? Just there's kids that are basketball players or baseball players or hockey players or, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, football, soccer. There's a goal at the end to get to the championship, right? And maybe it's the Pop Warner Little League stuff or or high school, collegiate level. That's what everybody's playing for. Everybody has a different why, you know. I was always motivated by money so that I could provide for my family. There's some people who are motivated by words of affirmation, attaboy, at the end of the day. So everybody has their own why. Mine personally was to provide. Everybody else's could be different. So I don't want to put anybody in a box, but I could tell you for sure, without a doubt, what mine is to provide. Okay. It's nice to have an attaboy every now and again, but it wasn't important to me. It wasn't something that I worked towards.
It doesn't pay the bills.
No, not at all. So again, I have guys that are motivated the exact same way that I am. I have guys that are motivated different ways. The words of affirmation, this is helpful, that's great. Also being compensated well. Being called into the office to not be in trouble, but to say, hey, man, you're really doing a great job. I'm going to bump you up a couple bucks an hour because you deserve it. Yep. You know, that's a great motivating factor too. So something I'm having to learn currently with my own business is, how are these guys, these people, what's their motivation? And there's always a why. What's the why? Why are you doing what you do? And when we can figure that out, then we can figure out the motivation and how we need to proceed. What's the best method to make sure that everybody is operating at the top tier level? So I'm still figuring it out, but short answer, mine is just to provide for my family.
And I like that, because when I got into the union, I'd always done well, but when I got into the union, I was a rat. You know, you're dumb, you're uneducated, you know nothing. We've all been through training. So I made it my goal every job I walked on to outperform the other plumbers. I wanted to do more work. I wanted to do it straighter, neater, better, no leaks, no nothing. I mean, just as close to amazing as I could get every day, and train my apprentices better, because that's going to help us work smarter and not harder. And it was good. It was really good. And I tell people, look, right now to try to get in the trades is easy. There's a million unfilled trades jobs across the United States. But get in and try to be the best. And it's easy to do right now because nobody else is trying. Just try and you can do it. You just started your own company within the last year, right?
Yes, sir. About 10 months in.
10 months in. How did you know it was time to start your own business?
I had kind of made my way up to, basically as far as my body could take me. And I still have several good years left. Don't get me wrong with that. But I knew that I was making corporations rich, or, had in their pockets for investors. And it got old driving into Dallas and that rat race and the grind. And I had mentioned earlier that I had tried to set up a balance, and just having my family back east, and I was in Dallas every day.
That I-30 bridge we were talking about. That thing will kill you.
So all that stuff was getting old, and then we had this, kind of deal. I was helping here, but I wasn't helping in my community too. So I wanted to be able to provide that same kind of excellent service in my community a lot closer, and wherever I was at, that was out of the service area, So that was a big factor. Being able to work with my best friend and my wife every day is awesome. So that was another big factor. And just being able to, I would get phone calls a lot. Hey man, I want to be your apprentice. Well, I can only take so many apprentices on when I'm the one running the truck.
You bet.
So giving people opportunities was another big factor as well. Teaching and showing people how to do stuff, and in the trucks and in business and in life, I'm teaching how to do plumbing great. Also teaching life lessons, because nobody told me about the balance. They told me work really hard, go out there and make that money. Nobody said, hey, make sure that you're randomly taking your wife on a date to make sure that she's feeling special while you're gone. So
scheduled date night.
Yeah. So those were all big factors. Reasons that we wanted to do this thing.
And I love that because, I'm putting together courses to bring people into the trades to teach them how to make more money. And it starts with becoming a better tradesman. Like I said, when I got in the union, I was a rat. But I started educating myself, learning more, got all my endorsements, got my master license, did everything to where I knew the answers. And education, I think that's a lot of the problems with trades. A lot of people, we become tradesmen. We get in the trades to become a plumber. A lot of tradespeople, once they get that license, they're done. They're done learning. I'm a plumber. That's what I got in it for. That mindset that they aimed way down here and they hit it.
Yeah.
Where, dude, you could have aimed way up here and you'd still be working on it. You'd still be growing. You could still be doing that. What do you think about that?
There's new stuff that I'm learning every day. If it's, technology stuff that's coming out to help us with our jobs to make it a little easier, I'm in. If it's new methods and techniques to do things, I learned when I was an apprentice, cut cast iron with snap cutters.
You bet.
Well, that had me convinced whenever I was going to take my journeyman's exam in Austin that you still cut cast iron with a hammer and chisel. So for a couple of months before I went, I was practicing every day the old way.
You bet.
Because that's what was going to be on the test. It was inefficient. It was ridiculous. I tore up a bunch of pieces of scrap pipe, figured it out, and I got really good at it. Once I got to Austin, I figured out that they were just yanking my chain the whole time, and I used the snap cutters and did great. I had cut miles worth of pipe, so I was proficient with that, but they had me practicing something else, so it's always fun. Good time.
I love that. No, and not that they did that, but it's good. Practice it until you get good at it. And we did it for years in this trade. When you started your business, what are the first steps that you took? What did you do to get everything in place to make it happen?
So just starting with the LLC, that was something Mrs. Amelia was like a big part of setting everything up the way that it needed to be done. As far as ignorance is concerned, I would be the last guy you want to take advice of.
You and me both, brother.
So I told you, brains behind the operation. So she was setting up a lot of that stuff, and I knew that if I could get in front of people, we could do it.
I love it.
So everything behind the scenes, you have to have her on for the trades talks.
There you go.
Company set up. But first things, so the investments that I had made in myself and in tools was great. I was able to take every bit of that stuff that I had learned and I had bought, tools, and just load it into a truck, make sure that I was compliant with some master numbers on the side and hit the road. But insurance was important. It's always great.
Wise investment.
Yeah. Having insurance was excellent just to make sure that we were covered, and just having a willingness to, I considered it a gamble, right? Because I didn't know how it was going to work. I knew that if Amelia and I put our mind to something, that we're an excellent team. We can make anything happen. So just having that faith to jump out and actually do it, I think that was the very first part, having faith of a mustard seed to jump in and get started, because it's change. And I've notoriously been not a great fan of change, but now I've embraced it, and everything's always changing. So I had to change some stuff with me, just being prepared to start changing every day.
I like that. I like that a lot. So what mentors or coaches have you had along the way that help you get in a position that you thought you could open your business? And a lot of tradesmen they're plumbers forever. They've never learned anything from anybody other than plumbing. And they wake up one day and say, I'm going to open my own company. Michael Gerber talks about the E-myth, not knowing anything, being the technician. What things did you learn? What coaches and mentors did you have you were able to watch and learn from to help get you in a good spot?
I've taken a little bit of information from anybody and everybody that I ever met. I've always had friends that were encouraging, why don't you do your own thing? You're going to start your deal. I don't know, one day. That was always the thing. but I've always taken a little bit of information from anywhere that I was at and listened. I've always been a pretty good listener. So as people talk, I try to absorb everything that's around me, and just good friends, they would always be encouraging. And there was also times that I saw what not to do, which is also helpful. I took the good from, the places, and I saw the bad, and I knew how we were going to operate, what we were going to do, what kind of atmosphere was going to be inside of my office, how everybody was treated, how I was going to speak to people. So as far as a mentor, everybody that I'd worked with and worked for, I took some of that information, and having, again, a best friend, business partner, and a wife that had learned a lot of great stuff along the way too. She super encouraging, just to be there and to know that somebody else is there with me.
Mm-hmm. So do you still have relationships with some of the plumbers you've worked with in the past, company owners, anything like that?
Yeah. Not long ago, I met with Jimmy Dale, the owner of Baker Brothers.
I had him in a couple of weeks ago.
Jimmy's great. So he visits. He'll shoot a text every now and again. He's encouraging to doing. So speak with him. There's a manager that I worked for at a big company here in town. I ran into him not long ago. He was always encouraging. But yeah, I still keep in contact. I have this thing where I'm super busy. I've always got something to do. It never stops.
Oh, I've been trying to book this for a couple of months now, brother.
Roger did ask, oh my God, you're still alive. I have called every hospital in town looking for you. But always, it's a never ending, never stops. The phone doesn't quit ringing. If it's, the office phone or guys calling or people, events, things that we're at or doing, it never stops. But I've always tried my best. Whenever I think about somebody, I will pick up the phone immediately if I have 3 free minutes, and I will call and say, hey, how are you? Doing all right? Man, I ain't heard from you in a little bit. Just want to make sure you're good. Let you know I love you. Hey,
click.
Yeah, that's it. Let's get together sometime. That doesn't always happen. Let's do lunch, whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. But I've kept good relationships that way, just trying to stay in contact with people. Think of something funny that we used to joke about back in the day. Make that phone call. Hey, I ain't heard from you in a couple months. Just want you to know I love you. I know you're busy. Holler at me sometime.
Absolutely.
So that's something that's important to me.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's good.
I got a friend of mine I hadn't seen in several weeks, and he's a general manager of an equipment company, and he sells equipment. He's got a life and a family, and stuff that he's got going on. And it's late last night. I knew I had stuff to do, but I stopped by about 10 o'clock just because I ain't seen him in a little bit. And we sat up. I had a glass of water and the best conversation ever. I didn't leave till 1 o'clock in the morning, knowing good and well that I had shit to do today.
Yeah.
But it was excellent to be able to sit and visit with that man and listen to his insight, because he's got 50 employees that he has, and just talking family, talking business, talking whatever.
I tell people whenever they start a company, and this was told to me, get ready to work harder than you've ever worked. A lot of people are thinking they're opening a company because they're gonna slow down. They're gonna take it easy. Hey, I'm gonna open a company. I'm gonna hire plumbers. I'm gonna be on the beach in Mexico, calling in, checking on things. Have you worked harder lately than you have in a long time?
Yeah, and I've never stressed harder in my life, because it's not just me and my family that I'm providing for.
Now there's other families dependent on you.
12 families, you know. 12 families that depend on Tejas Plumbing to be there, to have calls, to make sure that everything is going right, that the insurance, medical insurance is there, and that all needs are being met, and they have things that they got going on in their lives, and emergencies that pop up, and crazy deaths in the family, or whatever the case may be. So not only do I, work harder, and it's not so much physically anymore. I've kind of I have guys that are excellent. I was underneath a medical facility the other day in a Tyvek suit, crawling through 6 inches of sewer water, figure out what the source was.
Yeah, we've been there before.
And I had one of the apprentices stay up so he could stay clean. I'm going in to figure this out, and I jumped in with another master plumber, and I figured it out, right? So I would never, ever, ever ask anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do.
Yeah.
So I still work hard, but a lot of times it's a mental game that I'm playing. Just moving the cup around, making sure that everything's where it needs to be. So yes, I do work significantly harder for significantly less pay.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. When you start a company, you're going to make a lot less an hour than if you've been an hourly employee,
Sure.
Even sometimes commission. But starting your own business, everything comes out of your pocket.
Yeah. So I pay myself a salary. I could work 100 hours in a week and produce $50,000 worth of revenue. My pay doesn't change. That money that's coming in is literally reinvested immediately right back into the company for the meet needs to get vehicles or equipment, or making sure that everything's paid, having overhead met, having a little bit of money in the bank so that we have a couple of slow weeks that everything's going to be okay. So that's been a priority of mine. And in order to do that, I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. I had the big ass house and cool trucks and the Escalade. Like, that stuff is awesome, right? And that's kind of why I was doing what I was doing. It was to provide stuff. But we knew in order to come into Tejas that we had to cut some of that stuff back because it was not going to be sustainable. So there was a lot of that stuff that had to go. It was important for me to go.
And it can all be added later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Any bit of it. And I'm one of those people, I reinvest everything. People are like, dude, you're growing. We saw you on the Today Show. We saw this, we saw this, we saw this. And they're like, why ain't you moved into a bigger house? Why? I'm good. I like my house.
I think Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, he said, maybe we'll make $300,000 in a month. It's like, I just make a $300,000 video at the end, and he just doubles it up and doubles up his viewers. And he's, I don't know, it's some sort of a savant or a genius. I don't know.
His coach is my coach. So I get to hear a lot of the inside stuff. He thinks YouTube, he talks YouTube, he studies YouTube all day, every day. That's his world, which is great, because since his coach is my coach, I get to learn a lot of that. What he learned, why does he do this? Why does he do this? And stuff like that is amazing. What should all first-time business owners, what should they know? What should they do? What should they be prepared for?
It's tough. There's days I feel like the weight of the world is on us, and other days are great. Make sure that everybody that's coming in is somebody you can trust and somebody who's going to be there. And there's a lot of people. Watch people who aren't clapping when you're winning, too. I think that's important. Surround yourself with people who are encouraging. Make sure to network with lots of people. It's going to be super helpful to make sure that you have relationships in a lot of different places. Make yourself a little plan before you do it. We jumped in quickly. We had an idea of what we wanted to do, but all that stuff went out the window nearly immediately. So if you do plan and it's not going as planned, that's okay too. So plan for exponential growth. I planned to go out there, do this thing on my own for a while, and boy, that changed very quickly. Again, networking with people, network with the right people so that they can be helpful in business too. Not only just sharing your page or encouraging you, but also, people that can provide insurance, be it business insurance or life insurance or health insurance, or somebody who's great with equipment and can get you make relationships with your suppliers. There's a lot of people who have been a tremendous help, third-party subcontractors that have, given me an opportunity or helped me tremendously to close a job at 5:00 on a Friday. And it's been a 10-year relationship that we've had. A supplier that saw something in you that you didn't even know.
You bet.
That offered you, something that you never even thought you could use in a month. Those are excellent relationships, and value those.
I love that. I was doing a big remodel in downtown Dallas. It's been a few years back. I called the supply company, and we were working Saturday, and an order came out and stuff wasn't there. And I called the owner of the company. I said, man, look, I got a problem. He said, what's the problem? And we went through it. And I think I needed 3 10-inch carbon steel 90s. And he said, man, let me look and see what I can do. And we were doing a shutdown that weekend. And it's like, look, I got to have those, or everything shuts down. And I'd been told they were in stock. They'll be here. This is Friday. And it's like, look, they're still not here. Y'all told me. And the guy says, I'll make it happen. He said, how late will you be there? I said, I'll be here till 5:00 today. I said, if I need to stay later, I can. He said, no, I can make it happen. It's probably 2:00, 3:00. So he calls me at about 4 and says, look, I'm swinging by there on the way home. I said, okay. Comes by in his Cadillac, opens his trunk. He's got 3 carbon steel 90s in there. He only had 2 in stock. Why they didn't get on the order, he says, look, I don't know. He went to another supply house, picked up the 3rd one, and brings them to me. Awesome. And I'm like, man, that's why I love you. He said, you know what, Roger? You'd have done it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep.
And those same type of things happen with us on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Be it a crazy deal that we run into with service. Maybe we're at a church, right? Just for example, we're at a church and we're in a tight spot, and they've got services that are taking place in the morning. We're at a medical facility, a dialysis clinic that opens up at 5 a.m.
You bet.
And I'm standing there at 1 a.m. trying to figure out how am I going to get their patient seen, so that they can get their blood transfusions.
You bet.
Great strategic partners.
It is huge. Okay, so you started your company 10 months ago. Starting a company takes a lot of work. Now, what are you doing to grow it?
Everything.
Anything I can.
All of it. We're adding to the fleet. We're adding employees. We are constantly working on something to make sure that we are innovating in our field and with marketing or technology or dispatch software or whatever makes our job a little easier and can grow it. Also, anything that I can invest back, like I said, we don't take hardly anything from the company.
Take what you have to.
I literally take to pay bills at the house and to make sure that we have, what the kids need for cheerleading or whatever it is. So it's a modest salary. So that reinvestment into the company also. Both excellent to keep it going, to keep it growing.
So are you going to work for Wyatt one day?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I'm retired by then.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll be his master plumber on staff.
I love it. What kind of marketing are you doing right now to grow your business? Social media, pay-per-click, everything.
Just a little bit of everything. Somebody shared with me, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And again, it's personal relationships with people. It is social, just internet, search engine stuff, a little bit of everything.
Good.
Trying to make sure that we're constantly, in front of our audience. Nobody wants to have to call a plumber or the electrician or
Ever.
the HVAC guy, but just knowing that we're there, trustworthy, that they see us and it's a familiar face. That's something I'm doing constantly, just trying to always be.
I've watched you grow, so it's really neat to see. The Dustin I met, who is a service plumber, running a truck all the time, working his tail off, working lots of hours. Meet a lot of plumbers or apprentices that have worked with you, that have learned from you and grown. So it's wonderful. I love to see what you're doing in the trade and what you're doing for the trade. So that's a big deal to me. With everything you know right now, if you could go back to little Dustin, the first day he walked out of the house to go get a job in the trades, plumber, electrician, doesn't matter. The first day he's going out to get that first job, to start that first job, not just to get it, to do it. He's hired, he's going to work. I'm going to be a plumber, electrician, whatever he's going to be. Based on everything you know right now, what would you go back and tell Dustin?
That Dustin was a pretty good kid. He decent head on his shoulders for his situation. And I don't know if I would share anything with him, because I feel like it was every day was something new. It was always an experience, and I was always learning. Maybe I'd tell him be okay with change. That's all I'd say. Be okay with change. That's it, Roger. I'd tell him be okay with change, because there's always something changing, and everything's going to be all right.
I like that, because I look, I remember telling people, look, I'm not changing. This is me. What you see is what you get. I am so much different than that person now. I used to think I knew everything. Now I know I do. No, now I can't learn enough. You've talked about learning. I tell everybody, get up every morning for 30 minutes to an hour. Study your industry. New tools, new materials, new techniques, new equipment. There's something new coming out every day.
Does that mean you surf Instagram for 30 minutes to an hour every morning?
No, that's not where I get my good knowledge. That's where I create. No, but you know what? I have seen some good stuff on YouTube, Instagram, wherever.
Now, a lot of people are seeing you there too, so you guys keep studying.
That's it. Keep studying, study hard. But I tell people that want to move up, the people that want to be good. Seth Godin's got a book, The Dip. It's about, if you're not trying to be the very best, why not? The very best get paid the most. The very best do things right. The very best are sought after. The very best are never looking for a job. Somebody's always looking for them. And I try to tell people, look, if you want to be the very best, study your trade.
Yeah.
Like I said, tools, material, technique, technology. You study that 30 minutes to an hour every day. In a year, you're going to be in the top 5% of your industry. You're going to know more about your industry than most people. Now, don't get me wrong. You can't just study it 30 minutes an hour a day and go home, sleep, not do anything. But take the things that you learn, take the things and grow, and it's huge. Old Roger would have been like, yeah, no, I'm good. I got this.
Got a torch.
You bet. I got a torch, pliers, crescent. Leave me alone.
Plastic pipe, man. Kiss my ass.
I got it. I love that. Don't be afraid to change.
Yeah, that's it, man, and everything's going to be all right. That's what I'd tell that kid. I think he's a pretty good kid, so exactly what I would say. With that studying stuff, I've been sitting in the office a little bit more and behind the desk, and it's kind of weird for me. So I've started kind of working out in the mornings. That 4 a.m. alarm will go off, and it sucks because I'm still out late and doing what I'm doing.
You'll learn. You'll change.
It's become normal to me that, on the weekends, 5:45, I'm kind of like rolling over to see what time it is, and I'm going to go back to sleep, but then kind of milling around. I really enjoy that, getting some rest on the weekends, but it's becoming normal. So a new different thing. So
I'll teach you an old man trick. Don't be afraid to get up and make breakfast, have mimosas, and then go take a nap.
I'm in on that too.
You know, it works. You still get the sleep in. It's just a little bit different time of day, but it's good.
I had a good time, man. This has been fun.
Where can people find you? If some young kid in Dallas, East Texas, wherever's listening right now, he's like, man, that's the kind of guy I want to work for. How can people get in touch with you?
Facebook, Dustin Deweese, Instagram, you can find me, Texas Plumbers. Our website, TejasPlumbingServices.com. All of our information is up there. But yeah, all of those, we're plumbers here in Texas. We do have a group that's on Facebook called Texas Plumbers. I'm the admin on several other ones, but that one's actually our group that we've had since 2014. It's great. I learned a lot of cool stuff from a lot of people in there. I've stopped posting as much anymore because
you're busy.
Yeah, I took some of the social stuff off of my phone because I was spending a lot of time. That 30 minutes to an hour in the mornings was easy to do, and I just don't have 30 minutes to an hour extra anymore. So to weed that out, I had to change some stuff. So there we go, more change. So I got rid of that. But yeah, any of those, Facebook, the group, website, TejasPlumbingServices.com. It's all of our information there. So I'm always available. Probably ask somebody, they have my number, shoot me a text. I'm willing to be friends and share information, do anything I can to help. Good deal.
Dustin, this has been great. I've wanted to do this. Glad you weren't in the hospital whenever I finally did get in touch with you. But I understood, look, when you're busy, you're busy. But thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it.
One of those old relationships. I try my best to make sure that I visit as much as I can. And whenever I get a missed phone call, I promise everybody I have great intentions of calling back in a timely manner, but then it just it continues. Phone never stops, and something else is happening. So glad I got to do it with you. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.